We are tentatively scheduled to start the removal of the clock tower, or the cupola as some people know it, over Memorial Day weekend. We're targeting a time when there will be very limited foot traffic and activity in and around the building, just due to potential risks of falling items. So we want to make sure the building isn't open for staff or the public. So we're prepared to start that Friday in the afternoon and proceed through Saturday, Sunday, and then pick up again on Monday after the Memorial Day ceremony festivities have concluded. And the goal would be to try to get the lion's share of the work done over the course of that long weekend, and to limit impacts to the building, but also the traffic impacts, as it's going to require a crane and a number of large lifts. And as you know, Mass Ave is so busy during the work week that it would be challenging to close down a lane right in the center of town for that work. So that is our current plan. And once we sort of get the building stabilized and we keep the water from continuing to come in, as soon as we're buttoned up and watertight, we will begin restoration activities shortly thereafter in the Lions hearing room, so that we can return that room to public use. I know it was a very important function space to for the town that we have since lost, and that water damage is spread from that room into other parts of the building. So I think our facilities staff are especially grateful to stop having to fight the waters every rainstorm. So it's promising to see this moving forward, and now we can sort of look ahead once we're out of this acute phase to securing some money for a design and engineer to sort of present us with the next round of construction drawings that we can use to restore the remainder of the envelope, replace portions of the roof, perhaps rebuild the cupola, repoint the masonry, install new flashing, remove, restore, and replace windows, do any necessary exterior painting. So a lot of work to be done, and this is a very important step to stabilize the structure, but now we have to look ahead to what the next steps are and where we can secure funding for those very important needs.
Absolutely. Now, how much is this costing just to remove the cupola?
About $250,000.
All right. And you mentioned a crane. So how long does it take to dismantle something that's over 100 years old?
It'll be our first time dismantling something of this nature, so we don't know exactly. And there are portions of it that are grouted solid, and there are portions that we are keeping. We are keeping certain representative elements of the more decorative pieces, so they have to be carefully removed and handled with care, since they can be maintained as a whole to either be reused in the future or to be used as a model to replicate those elements, many of which have been damaged. So you sort of want to keep the best of each one to serve as a demonstration moving forward. So that
like the finials, things like that,
the finials, the sort of pine cone
top,
acorn urn type elements at the top, right? Like it could be perceived as a number of different things, but really there are pieces we're looking to keep from each and every section along the entire elevation that will serve as an example moving forward. So when you have to keep something intact and remove it with care, obviously that will require a little bit of extra attention and time. This isn't necessarily a wrecking ball activity.
That's for sure.
More of a disassembly, lower to the ground, catalog certain components, palletize them, and sort of protect them for safekeeping.
Handle with care. You mentioned a crane again. Will Mass Ave be disrupted in any way? Will there be any detours or?
I wouldn't expect a detour, but I do expect us in that location to be down a travel lane. So, the road will still be open, but we will have to sort of lose one section of a travel lane there, and it should be a little less impactful over the course of a weekend than it would be during the week.
And last question, I talked to you about this before, but it will be replaced. You're dismantling it very gingerly, very laborious. Obviously, it's going to take time.
Yep.
But it will eventually be replaced and pretty much look like it does in much, much better shape.
Yeah, it will be. We have certainly recorded it in all of its glory via certain 3D laser scans of various rounds, and we've created a point cloud model. So we've really captured its essence in sort of time, at this point in time, how it exists in space, and the detail, the dimensions. So we have all that information, and now it's going to be, okay, what is the best way to rebuild this clock tower? Do we find, someone to restore or rebuild the terracotta elements and the limestone elements? There's a number of different ways to do it. You could use replicated materials. So there's a number of options for the town that we're going to have to weigh the pros and cons of moving forward.